for attending as well. I know it's 9 o'clock, and I know Singaporeans don't normally get up at 9 o'clock. I have a team of 25 Singaporeans, and they have to stretch themselves out of bed, but 3 of them have come in. My team at the back there managed to get here on time. But thank you very much for coming along. This is very much about you. It's about your career. It's about how you can use LinkedIn to actually enhance your career. So you'll have a copy of this book. If you don't have a copy, there's one next to you or beside you, or there's a couple of extra copies down here. This is basically the encapsulation of 2 of my previous books, but also talk about how you can socially sell. And you might think, I don't need to socially sell. I'm not into sales, but you are. You're selling yourself. And that's what this is all about, how you sell yourself effectively by using LinkedIn, by using personal branding. So we're going to be talking about you, it's very much about you. So if you have a question, ask it. Don't just wait to the end because you'll have forgotten about it. And we will be going through your profiles as well, because my team had great fun going through your profiles. Absolutely fantastic. That's my favorite bit of the whole presentation, is going through your profiles and seeing all the things you aren't doing and you should be doing. It's great fun. So why listen to me? There's lots of people out there who pretend to be LinkedIn professionals and pretend to be LinkedIn trainers, but none of them have got 700 LinkedIn recommendations. And that's what we have, which is quite amazing. It's the highest in the world. We also have the 3 books. We have LinkedIn Mastery, which is well worth getting. I would say to you, you can download it on Kindle, but Singapore has banned Kindle. Do you know that? You can't get Kindle in Singapore, it's banned. So what you have to do is switch on your VPN, and then you can go to Amazon, and then you can download Kindle. So you can be subversive and break the law by downloading a Kindle book about LinkedIn marketing. Otherwise you can just buy it on Amazon and they send it to you like 2 weeks later. We also have the LinkedIn, what we call Power Profile Awards. These are from LinkedIn. Welcome. How you doing? Yes, hurry up, come on, hurry up. Welcome. And these are basically awarded by LinkedIn. And they're basically awarded to people who've got the most engaged, most viewed profiles. About 40 awarded each year. We've won it for 7 years running. Normally people get it who are basically working for multinationals like DBS, or Microsoft, or people like that, so they often get the views anyway. Whereas an SME like me, an entrepreneur like myself, actually has to work a bit harder to get those kind of views. We also have the second book, which is about personal branding for entrepreneurs, all about you. And then we have the third book, which is basically in front of you here, which just got released and was in keeping with our event, which is called Social Selling 2018, which we had at Microsoft about 2 weeks ago, which is all about social selling and how sales and marketing people, entrepreneurs, and people like yourselves can actually do social selling. So we have the 5 different brands that we work for. We have Black Marketing, which has been going for 5 years now on LinkedIn. Hi, Rina. And that's all about LinkedIn and how entrepreneurs can use LinkedIn. And then we have the Dark Arts, which basically does personal PR for people. So that's usually things like celebrity chefs or TV presenters or professional speakers or non-executive directors or CEOs of banks and that kind of thing. It's about their personal PR beyond LinkedIn. So if you see someone say in the Business Times or CNBC or on Money FM, we then put them there, but we also then put that on LinkedIn as well. It's going to match the 2. We have Mohawk Marketing, very appropriate, and we do hotel marketing for that. We combine TripAdvisor with LinkedIn to present a B2B focus rather than a B2C focus. And then we have the Masterclass brand, which is what this is here. And we also have the social selling brand off the back of the event. That's my event brand. And we're doing a series of social selling events over the next couple of years, kind of like spreading the news about social selling. We actually, at our event, we had 20 different keynotes. Everyone from kind of like local entrepreneurs, for example, to celebrities, people like Microsoft and LinkedIn, for example, who came along and spoke at that. But if you Google yourself, first thing that comes up is your LinkedIn profile. This is Rena here. How many days you got to go, Rena? A couple of days to go. So Rena is very important that she starts changing this. Obviously, she'll no longer be the Associate Director of NUS. But that's the first thing that comes up. And you'll notice that I haven't put LinkedIn here. Literally, Google and LinkedIn just work together because it takes so much substantiation to actually create a LinkedIn profile that LinkedIn know it's not fake. You notice that Facebook and Twitter is not there because mostly they are fake accounts. Instagram, same thing, lots of fake accounts. Even they admit there's fake accounts. And you know, once a platform like Facebook is saying we have 1 billion fake accounts, you know the number is probably 2 billion. You know, if Twitter is saying there's 200 million who are fake on Twitter, it's probably 400 million. If Instagram is saying that virtually all our users are fake, you probably realize that's probably true. So on LinkedIn, it's very hard to fake an account because you have to put your experience in, your background, your connections, and Google looks at this. And Google looks at the links and sees how serious that is, which is why 9 times out of 10, unless you are dead or you're a celebrity, or you're a dead celebrity, you don't tend to come up first on LinkedIn. It tends to be LinkedIn comes up first on Google, unless you're very famous and your Wikipedia comes up. So this is the first impression of Rena, which I really like. Very positive impression, I like that. There she is on her chair there. It's an inspirational picture for herself, which is fantastic. It's personal branding. And she has her positioning there, so you get a very positive impression of Rena straight away. That's the power of like an immediate visual impression, which is about the essence of social selling. But what is LinkedIn? I mean, LinkedIn, and why LinkedIn? Well, LinkedIn has 600 million professionals now across the world. And it's key to actually say that they're not going after the mass market. They don't want the 2 billion or 3 billion that Facebook claim. They don't want the 500 million that Twitter say they have. They don't want Instagram's billion. They don't want WeChat's $1.5 billion. They want professionals. They want people like you. They want people to focus on their career and their professional development. That's what they really, really want. So they'll focus that and they'll make sure they don't have fake accounts. They'll make sure they basically don't have people who are just on there basically to clickbait, to create the numbers. So it's all about quality, not quantity, which is why it costs 10 times as much to advertise on LinkedIn than it does on Facebook. Because the quality of the audience is on LinkedIn and not on Facebook. It's people like you who are on LinkedIn taking it more seriously. And the key to LinkedIn is, unlike Facebook and Twitter, for example, and Instagram and YouTube, is it's allowed in China. And as China's now the third biggest market in the world, as you can see here, LinkedIn is really the only place in the whole of the world you can actually engage globally. There's only 2 countries that you can't get LinkedIn on. Does anyone know which 2 countries they are? Yeah. North Korea is one, correct. What's the other one? Russia. Russia's the other one. Well done. That's it. Yeah, very confident there. Russia. It's definitely Russia, yes. The 2 renegade nations of the world, I would say. Yes, you can get it in Syria, you can get it in Afghanistan, you can get it in Iran. You can get, normally I get those people saying, oh, it must be available in those countries, but no, you can get it in those countries. It's just North Korea and Russia you can't get it in. But if you actually Google the amount of people in Russia, they apparently use a VPN, a different kind of VPN. I think they use Telegram over there, and they do something there. Yes, he's had the experience of studying. So as you can see here, India and China are very much the second and third largest countries in the world, and that's going to get bigger and bigger. In fact, Asia in general is going to get bigger and bigger. When I first came to Asia, where there's about 10 million people on LinkedIn, now there's over 100 million people. And you can see countries like, for example, Philippines and Indonesia, even going up to Myanmar, for example, their internet speeds are picking up, the middle classes are picking up, the business classes are picking up, and that's where the power of LinkedIn is. Whereas the West has very much stabilized, stopped. You can't get very much more than, say, 25 million in the UK, or 150 million in America, for example, or 450 million in Canada. They've really capped it. Whereas Asia's got the growth, particularly when it comes to India and China, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and even Myanmar. I mean, Myanmar's got fantastic internet speeds. Seriously, Myanmar has better internet speeds than Australia. I kid you not. You go to both of those countries and you see who has the worst internet speed, and it is Australia. So that tells you what can go forwards. But LinkedIn's very much a gamification platform. Does anyone know what I mean by gamification? No? You don't know what thought you were going to be my star pupil. I could just come to you for questions. And gamification. Who writes on TripAdvisor? Does anyone write on TripAdvisor? No one writes on TripAdvisor? You do, yes, okay. So what does TripAdvisor do when you review, when you write a review on TripAdvisor?
My review,
yeah. But what does TripAdvisor say to you when you've written on TripAdvisor? And how many points do you get?
I get rated up like silver and bronze.
Correct, and then it says to you, if you write another review, you'll be onto a different level of restaurant critic, and you get another 100 points. And if you do an entertainment review, be an entertainment critic. That's gamification. It basically means absolutely nothing. But on a regular basis, TripAdvisor write to me and go, well, if you post one more review, Chris, you'll be a level 57 restaurant critic. And we always know you always wanted to be a level 58 restaurant critic. It's like, and they say to me, you could be an entertainment critic and a corporate relocation critic and a hotel critic. It's like, what do these things mean? Nothing. Absolutely zero. And I tried to I gamified it once, because they wrote to me and they said, if you are number 4, you are number like 59 in the world, right? You are number 59 in the world, in Singapore, in terms of TripAdvisor. And they said, if you write a few more reviews, you could be higher up. So, okay. So I reviewed every single Starbucks in Singapore. So like 25 different Starbucks I could think about, I vaguely went through once, or I visited once. And I went up to I was really disappointed, I went up to 43. Oh, Jesus. So I went through all the Sedels and all the chains I could possibly think of, which I went through. So I tried to gamify it that way, and I'm up to like 41 now, but obviously other people are doing the same thing. They're doing like McDonald's and Burger Kings and KFCs and things like that. You can just see it in their rankings. That's gamification, but LinkedIn's the same. The more you put into LinkedIn, the better, because the more engagement you get, LinkedIn say you're active, they'll promote you higher. So the more activity you do, your account grows, your profile grows, your searches grow, you'll be seen more. So it's worth doing things on the app, for example, on the way to work, or the way to university, or just doing things when you're waiting for a friend. Just go on the app, like stuff, share stuff, comment on stuff. So gamification is really, really key because it increases your search appearances on LinkedIn. And if you do little things like, for example, have a career summary, your views go up by tenfold. If you had a photograph, just a good photograph, and we're going to talk a lot about your photographs today. A good photograph, professional photograph, your views go up by 14 times. Because people don't trust people they can't see. If you all came in on here with kind of like you had a black bag over your heads, it wouldn't feel like the same as seeing your wonderful faces. And that's what LinkedIn and networking is all about. If you add things like skills and industries and position, for example, your views go up. And that's absolutely key in terms of your gamification. I like this quote. Obviously not because I like James Blunt, because I can never admit to liking James Blunt in an Iron Maiden t-shirt. And no one on stage would ever admit to liking James Blunt. But he had a good quote. I'm self-deprecating because I'm British. If I was American, I would tell you how great I was. And that's very much a LinkedIn thing. You get Americans on there because they were born with this DNA which just says promote, 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 as we can see by the president, style over substance, but they're born with that gene. Have you ever met a shy, retiring American? No, they don't exist. They literally don't exist. Whereas British people and Asians and Australians and Kiwis and other people say, no, it's not about me, I can't promote myself, no, it's a team effort. Prime Minister Lee's a fantastic example of that. It's about Team Singapore. He's not even on LinkedIn, whereas other prime ministers are. Luckily, Donald Trump is not one of them. But it's all about how you promote yourself. It's about you. You got to promote yourself. So you got to get into the habit of promoting yourself. I'm not talking about lying. I'm not talking about doing a Trump and lying about things. I'm talking about putting yourself out there in terms of what you've done. Your leadership credentials, this course, what you learned on this course, how you networked on this course, what projects you did on this course, for example. What you did before this course, what this non-profit stuff you've done, for example, voluntary stuff you've done. Put that on LinkedIn, because that all tells a story about your personal brand. Promote yourself harder and faster, and look at it all as part of your credentials. And we'll talk about a great deal more detail about that today. So we believe I've been doing this for 10 years in Singapore, but 5 years for Black. There are 4 basic ways to enhance and socially sell yourself on LinkedIn. And they are personal branding. That's about you. And this is where it's got to start. It's got to start with you, because ultimately you're selling yourself for your career, and to advance in your career and to get that dream job or get that dream promotion, it's all about you and how you present yourself. And then it's about content marketing. It's all very well having a great personal brand, but you also have to have a good content marketing plan. And you're all thinking, I can't do a content marketing plan, but I'm going to show you today how you can actually do a content marketing plan. Because every single one of you can be a thought leader. And yes, your thought is as relevant as anybody else's, as we can tell from people like Trump kind of ranting and raving about things. If people are going to pay attention to him, they're certainly going to pay attention to you, because you have a lot more intelligence than he has. And more people should listen to you than listen to him. So you need to put your views out there. Company branding as well. You work for a company, market the company through your personal branding. And then social selling. So I'll go into a bit of detail about how you, looking for a job, can use the Sales Navigator platform on LinkedIn. So you may not have come across this before, so what we're going to talk about today is how you can actually find the right kind of person on LinkedIn using Sales Navigator, and actually track that person and make sure that person knows who you are, so when it comes to applying for a job or getting that career progression, for example, that person knows who you are and you can reach out to that person, for example. So we'll go that in a bit of detail as well. But the first tip is very much about looking at how you can actually use the privacy and communication settings on LinkedIn, because a lot of people say on LinkedIn, where are you being communicated with? How are you being communicated with? Where are you opting in and opting out? Well, LinkedIn is completely data protection proof. You basically opt into everything or you opt out of everything. You have total control. So they have lots of privacy settings, lots of communication settings, and you can actually literally stop people communicating with you, stop networking, stop doing anything on LinkedIn if you really want to. You can be a hermit on LinkedIn if you want and just have a physical presence there. Obviously, we wouldn't advise that. What you do want to do though is if you make lots of changes today on your LinkedIn profile, you need to basically make sure that this is off. Because if this is on, then it means that all your network will see all your changes and they'll think you're really, really busy on changing your plan. They get like 100 notifications saying you've changed something. So make sure that the privacy setting says no, you don't want to basically let your network know you've made 100 changes. It is useful to turn that on if you're changing jobs, to let people know about your new job, but we'll come along that a bit later on. You can also basically integrate, now that Microsoft own LinkedIn, integrate Microsoft and Outlook into LinkedIn as well. You have, again, options saying yes or no to that. So LinkedIn gives you all this power, and it is absolutely fantastic the way they do give you this power, and you can actually opt out. So this person here, for example, sorry, you can't send a reply because this recipient has disabled all communications. He does not want to be communicated with. It might be because he's in a high ranking job. He's the CEO of this particular capital company, for example. He doesn't want to be pitched that latest idea that you have for a venture idea or that latest app idea. So he basically switched off communication settings. You have to be connected to him to actually be able to communicate with him. So you can have that power on LinkedIn. Like often people say to me, every now and again, not often, they say, please take me off your mailing list when I target them. And I say, you're not on a mailing list, you're on LinkedIn. You just go to your privacy settings, you switch it to off, and then nobody can contact you, nobody will contact you. You have the power on LinkedIn. It is GDPR proof. So GDPR is the law in the EU, which basically means you can't mail someone outside of LinkedIn without their permission. Now LinkedIn basically gives you that permission and allows you to basically say no. So LinkedIn is what they call GDPR proof. So it's a very, very safe communication platform. So we don't advise you take emails outside of LinkedIn and communicate, because you have no authority to do so. And if that person lives in the EU, they can complain to the EU and actually have your company fined as a result of it. So doing it on LinkedIn is safe because those people have opted in and said, I want you to communicate with me. So they can't object to it. So it's a safe environment for career progression in terms of targeting somebody and saying, can we have a coffee? Can I talk to you about careers? Can I talk to you about opportunities at your company? They can't say no, basically. It also doesn't go to their spam box. So a lot of emails obviously go to people's spam box these days or go to a PA, whereas LinkedIn doesn't. LinkedIn goes straight to their own first box, so they basically see it. There's no spam filter on LinkedIn. So it means you have more chance of standing out, particularly if you have a good brand and someone will reply to you as a result of that. Also, if you have lots of shared connections, that also helps. And we're going to talk about how you can maximize the NUS alumni today as well. That's very, very powerful, particularly obviously in Singapore and Southeast Asia. So I'm just going to look at the profile. So this is obviously my profile. I change mine on a regular basis. You notice we use the headline, the background picture quite a lot to market. So if I'm in Hong Kong, for example, we'd use that. For an event we had, we'd use that, for example. We use the headline. So you can change all these different parts, for example. So you'll see the little pencil there, means you can change these. And we advise you can change it on a regular basis. Because like any advertising or any marketing channel, people get bored. People get bored all the time. Anyone go to Golden Village cinema? Yes. I know millions of you do, because Singapore has the most amount of cinema goers in the entire world. But I go probably at least once a week. And that bloody Visa advert, if they tell me once more that Claire has a surprise birthday, and this is how Claire's surprise birthday, yeah, you know what I'm talking about? It's like, change the creative, please change the creative. I've seen it like 100 times. And the essence of marketing is if you basically hit people time and time and time again, there's a point where they like it, they appreciate it, and they get bored of it, and they get really annoyed by it. And then the sentiment becomes negative, not positive. On LinkedIn, you have an opportunity to sell by using things like your background picture and your headline. So we change the headline on a regular basis, for example. And that's very much about also the photograph. The photograph is very much about you and your personal branding. So if I show you this photograph, you get an impression of a brand. It's a personal brand. It has various attributes attached to that brand. Chaos, technology, disruption. But you know what that brand stands for. The anti-hero. If I show you Steve here, for example, you might know him as a presenter on Fox Sports, but he wants you to know on LinkedIn that he is the presentation and public speaking coach, that he can help you with your presentations. So he's gone big on the fact he's the coach of how to do that. That's part of his brand. If you look at Karen here, I was lucky enough to meet Karen in New Zealand a few weeks ago. She's the GPS girl. She's the girl on GPS that basically says recalculating, recalculating, recalculating. I kid you not. She's also the girl on Sonos. So she basically, Siri. So she's also the girl on Siri. So you thought it was an automated AI thing. No, it's Karen. And Karen's built an entire career being the GPS girl. Absolutely fantastic. She's done one thing, she got paid for that, but then she's actually done also, she's a keynote speaker, she's on The Voice, she's a concert performer, but the GPS girl is how she positions herself. It's like her mohawk. I have a mohawk, she's the GPS girl. So we got on very well when we met because we both understand it's about personal identity and personal association. You will forever know that Karen is the GPS girl. Next time you hear the GPS, you'll think of Karen. And that's fantastic personal branding and personal branding association. So, what's yours? You've got to be thinking, what do you have that kind of relates to that? I like what Steve did here. He's got no pretenses here at all. He's in Melbourne. He serves burgers. I make burgers. Literally, very, very focused, which is brilliant. You know exactly what he's coming across. He's not trying to be anything else. He makes burgers. And he's in Melbourne. And he's got a picture of a burger. What an enormous burger. I've never seen such an enormous burger in all my life. Welcome. Oh. Hope you didn't do that on the way. Frederick here, in Singapore, but he's a global conference speaker. So he wants you to know that he is the global conference speaker on creativity, change, and global mindset in 60 countries. And as a result of that, he's got 2 pictures, one at the back, one in the middle, and promotes the fact he is the global conference speaker. So you know exactly where his personal brand is positioned. He's the global conference speaker. Sophie the robot. I actually met her in Hong Kong. She actually accepted my invitation on LinkedIn. Absolutely brilliant. So you can actually also connect with Sophia the robot if you really want to. But absolutely brilliant that she has a personal brand on LinkedIn because she has a personal brand. I hope at one stage that not everyone on LinkedIn is becoming an AI robot, but at least one of them is on there and she gets it. Don't do this. Because as much as I might aspire to be in George Clooney one day, I can't. So I can't claim I am that person, particularly if I live in Glasgow, and I'm pretty sure that George Clooney is not an engineer. And if you're going to use Shutterstock image, it's best to remove the watermark and the codes so people at least can pretend you're that pretty until, like Tinder, you meet them and get disappointed. Or this, Jonathan here is headless. If he walked into this room, he wouldn't create a very good impression, he would run away. So unless you're selling suits, ties and shirts, it's not a great look. And this is what I call your classic Facebook photograph. This is your downboat key, you're having a few drinks, it's 3 a.m, you're in some KTV bar, you've had a few drinks, emphasize that bit. Someone says, dress as a panda. And somebody else says, let's take a picture and put it on LinkedIn. It's 3 a.m, you've had a few drinks, you're in a KTV bar singing, I Will Survive. You think, why not? Until the morning and you realize what you've done. Don't do that. And I don't know what was going through Joe's mind when she took this picture. Dress as a horse and jump. I have no idea, and she's in communications. She should know that's not a very positive brand. Which one's Melita? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. How do you create a relationship with someone when you can't even tell who the right person is? And animals. I don't get why you use animals. You're the C-suite of a company and you use a cockatoo. Why? Toucan. Yes, the symbol of Guinness, isn't it? Yes, that's how you knew that, isn't it? Then this guy couldn't decide which photograph to use, so he used all of them in one thing, not realizing on the mobile it's like this big. You can't actually see any of them on the mobile, so it's pointless. And Elizabeth here got confused between LinkedIn and Tinder, because this is very much her Tinder picture. But she is the human resources manager for a small company called the Hyatt Hotels Group. You can't have a picture like that if you're the human resources manager, i.e. in charge of things like, discrimination at work, if you've got that picture on. It's a terrible picture. And people do this on LinkedIn. It's like, why are you putting a bag over your head on LinkedIn? This guy's a photographer, he's being ironic, this person thinks he's Michael Jackson, this person's got a bag over her head. It's like, why would you do that? It's not very positive or professional. And Christopher has too many hands for my liking. Wiki. He's in Singapore as well, so you might know him. And don't do this. Particularly if you live in China. Why would you do that now if you live in China with this on? It's like, no, I think Trump's right, we should have a trade war. It's like, oh, why would you do that?